All right, thanks for being patient, everybody. I now have a cat, and we're going to get everything going here. I'm going to pass it on off to Bert to get us kicked off and welcome us.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the virtual INW Fall Online Town Hall. We are here. We've caught up with technology, kind of. At least those of you watching live will be able to see it while it lasts, and those of you watching after we're all said and done, we'll do some edits, and it'll be a little different than if you were paying attention while it was going on, but it'll be pretty close. All that to be said, we're having this thing like we do every year, but we didn't quite get it out on time. Nobody knew it was going to be online. We usually have it in a building. People say, oh, we need to get it at a different time or so people can attend. So we have it online. And I've heard, how come it's not in a building and it's only online? We can't please everyone. We're trying to please as many people as we can. We're volunteers. We do what we can. And lots of people have lots of other things, jobs, kids. It's life. We're here to do what we need to do. And right now, we're here to take care of the community's money and spend it in the best way we can in the community's best interest. And that's really all there is to it. Scotland, does that sound pretty good to you?
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty good. You ready to go on some of these slides and talk to people about some lovely stuff?
Yes, yes. Let's move on. It's Adventureland. We're going to see how long this thing goes. So let's get it kicked off.
All right. So everyone should be seeing the slides now, hopefully.
Looks like a loaded slide to me. For those of you that are following on live right now, we are on Facebook. There's a post at the top of the event page that's taking questions for the burning Q&A at the end of the evening tonight. Anything put up there within reason and pretty legal will get answered or dodged in some way, shape, or form.
And we're going to do the best we can to make this, a little interesting too, more conversational if we possibly can. Anyone else from our board, you're happy to kind of jump in a little bit, say some words. Again, it's different because we're all not in the same room and we're not interacting in the same way that we would at a large event. So we're trying this out. So we're gonna shoot over to our agenda and talk about that, what we've got coming up a little bit. Usual kind of stuff, You've got our quarterly grants, we've got our art council updates, we've got some scholarships, some finances, some website stuff. I know everyone's really excited about that, so that should be really interesting. And we're going to talk about C compression and critical, and then some other important information around critical. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're going to sit today. The Q&A, we're going to do the best we can to do Q&A while we're talking, picking it up off the Facebook pages and trying to answer it on the fly. It's again a little different, so your patience is greatly appreciated. This is one of those times where you could kick back with some something nice to drink, something to eat, and kind of tune in. Right, Bert?
That's right. You didn't have to drive to get here. Nobody had to fight traffic or get wet, deal with any of those nasty things out in the elements. Cool. You could be sitting in on your bathroom the whole time. No one would ever even know the difference.
Yeah, I might not be wearing pants.
There is that. Well, we'll definitely have to stay tuned to see how the night unfolds as far as that goes. So let's get this kicked off. Let's talk about some quarterly grants. Hello.
Yeah, we're kind of pushing ahead here a little bit too. So
Yeah, because I was reading through there, and I think I've covered a lot of this. We are volunteers. We have a lot going on in our life, and we appreciate your patience. We do the best we can with what we've got, and if you think you can make an improvement to where we're going, we would be more than happy to have you on our team. Stay tuned later on in tonight's telecast for that. because there are details about the election coming up at the beginning of next year.
We definitely want your help if you can give it. So, here's those quarterly grants. Eventually. Maybe. Maybe. Bueller.
So you give it 2 different computers to run, and this is what happens. Okay, looking good. So that looks like some Arts Aglow right there. That looks like the lantern making table that Ozzy put in a grant for. I definitely know that that was that because we went and showed up for that. There you go. Here's some actual some words to go with those. Ozzy's Recycled Monsters were materials for youth. Art projects for Arts Aglow. Much better. The very first year we went to Arts Aglow, they were glass jars and wire hangers wrapped around them, which was great, and it was perfect for the time, but this was LEDs in non-breakable things, and it was perfect for small kids. So it was definitely money well spent on our part as far as interactive art. Joel, what do you think? You girls participated in that too. What were their thoughts on that?
Well, they love it every year. That we've been to the event every single year. Every year it's different. Ozzy's project year this year was pretty awesome. It was always booked. They were running around like crazy, so it was very popular.
Absolutely. So also, what else have we done? Lori Watkins and Mary Saucier, parking in Belltown, materials and permits for installations. Where's the picture for that? Can you go back to the other slide? Do we have pictures of that one up there?
Yeah, I think you should see it now.
Okay, there it is. We've got, parking is important. Let me tell you, parking lead and critical that year. We may have had a huge open field at Shelton, but we still, it takes a lot to get people to pay attention. They get behind their wheel and they just think they can park any damn well they please.
Yeah, do a lot of people know about this parking day kind of thing?
I don't think they do.
So parking day is kind of an interesting little thing that happens where a green space is temporarily created in a parking spot, and it's kind of cool. If you've never seen one before, it's pretty neat. And that's what you can kind of see on the right-hand side there. I'm going to kick it back over to the list here.
Okay, so
we're on Tara Sanders.
Grant writers for Dreamers. So facilities and expenses for travel for grant writing workshops. We're going to be needing to do a lot of this in the future, so I hope that money went to good use, Tara, and that you're going to be using that to teach some of our members out there, because we're going to be needing some money for other projects and things, and we'd like to start reaching into pockets that aren't our own. We'd like to take money from outside the community to fund community events, as well as, just keep, funding ourselves on your donations year in and year out. Also, some things we did: Flame Effect short course. Mike Dodds, materials for participants there. Scotland is our in-house fire master. What was Mike doing there, Scotland?
With the flame effects, he was putting together a course on building actual flame effects. So this is the your poofers, your simple flames, like kind of stock lit one, and it's a really cool class. It's a great way to learn about how to actually make those fire effects like you've seen on some of the awesome fire art that we have up here, and do it in a safe way. So if you've ever been interested in that, we're really looking forward to seeing how that kind of turns out, and if it's something that can be done again. It's pretty exciting. I wish I had some video or some pictures of it, but of some of the things that get taught in that. I didn't have them handy, but I might be able to pull something up a little bit later here.
Would that have covered your flaming guitar? Does that fall under that poof effect?
Yeah, that would absolutely cover the flaming guitar. Absolutely.
So we handed out over $3,500 in the community's money to support community projects and events. And there were a lot more submissions than were actually funded, and some get turned down because of improper submission or things aren't quite legal. Not every idea fits within the criteria of what we need to do or what we want to be able to give away with quarterly grants. But there's also room, Tara Sanders, to help with the grant writing process, even for these quarterly grants, because, as we're about to announce, and it just went out the other day, the submission for quarterly 1 grants is opened up. Can you give me 2 slides, Scotland?
Yeah, it's going. The internet's doing its thing.
Thank you, Internet. Quarter 1 grants for 2016, which is the January through March application cycle, are now open. They close Christmas Day at noon. Is that right? Christmas Day at noon? Leanne, I'm blaming you for that one.
It's like a Christmas present that you
It is a Christmas
don't want.
present you give yourself if you fill the grant form out well enough, legibly, and use full sentences in English. Let's see, you know, sarcasm is great, but in a way, we're really being serious here, folks. Some of these really need to use full sentences. I mean it. I saw Leanne. Is she still here or no? Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Leanne. We're talking about quarterly grants.
Perfect.
Outstanding.
Would you like to talk to us about some of those quarterly grants?
Sure. Can someone briefly? Are we on the? Have we already talked about 2015?
Yeah, we're talking about the 2016 stuff now.
Yeah, let's talk about the new grant that's opening up right now.
Okay, so the 2016 grant program is open. Information has both been posted on our website with updated content as well as Facebook. I've pushed it out to all of the lists. The information is in front of you now, but the deadline for applications for quarterly grants for the first quarter, so that would be grants that would go towards events, projects, things like that, that would be executed during January, February, or March of 2016. The deadline for applications is the 25th of December this year. So you've got a couple more weeks, about 15 days here to get those together and get them submitted. If you have more information or more questions, you'd like to see an example of a funded grant, please check out the website. The information's there, or you can contact me directly, and I'm more than willing to talk about the program. We've gotten a couple questions about what kinds of things the program funds, so I put my little blurb up there, but in particular, we prioritize funding the new interactive, community-driven, collaborative works that are accessible to the public and participatory in scope. So this is not a grant for people who have a personal art project that they just want to, do in their home, and it's really scoped towards public and participatory. As you may have seen in some of our 2015 grants, though they were very open, active, both with the parking day as well as with the Little Monsters and some of the other grants that we have coming forward.
It's really good stuff. Super excited to see new stuff come in. Bird, if you're talking, it looks like you're muted.
Hey, look at me trying to talk with my microphone on. So we're funding these projects, and these are community projects, and we're seeing new names come across the pages when people are putting in applications. So that's good. Keep applying for these things. If you've never heard of this before and you're listening in to the town hall tonight and you've never heard of a quarterly grant, when we talk about our new website, which you're going to be able to visit this evening, you're going to want to go and check that out, because quarterly grants are a way for you to get your hands on community money, to be able to make interactive art for you, to share your skills and your ideas and your dreams with the rest of the community at large.
Cool. All right, should we move on to kind of some of the next section, you think? Are we feeling that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So it looks like we have some more pictures here from some of the 2015 art grants. I don't know if we wanted to talk about some of these a little bit because they were pretty awesome.
Yes, hello, this is Marco.
Marco.
I'm the chair of the Art Grant Committee and was responsible for doling out the funds to different art grants for Critical Northwest. We had 12 different projects funded for a total of about $7,400. These are just some of the pictures. You'll see the Simon Fire Edition, the Pendulum of Meditation, Megapod, the Critical Portrait Studio, Web of Dreams, and Inflection. Some of these were new art grants, like Flowcon's Megapod, Simon Fire Edition, and some of them were refurb grants, like the Web of Dreams was a refurb grant. The Critical Portrait Studio was a micro grant. And I'm sorry, the one on the right is not Megapod. That is Zooplankton, which was a sort of large rendition of a microscopic organism that's in the sea. The Megapod was outside the hub and was a series of tubes and pipes and stuff that you could climb on. Let's see. So if you want to skip to the next slide, we go to the CComp art grants, which was 15 different projects funded for a total of almost $3,000. Some of the images you see here are live painting by Bill Ball, the Technotron video feedback device in one of the dance tents. That was a lot of fun. We funded some supplies and materials for the Lamplighters Parade. There's a picture of our good friend Hank, aka Espresso Buzz, who printed out a number of his photographs from various events and put them up so people could take them home as a souvenir. And the last one was just sort of a picture of the different fire art that was in the fire art area, and the big poofer in the back there is probably the clown shoe. Yeah,
I think so.
Yes, the clown shoe was Sammy Scharf, and that was a refurb on his clown shoe art car to make it, Spitfire and entertain the crowds and stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool to see this much fire actually out in that much rain. I will tell you, participating and performing with fire in this much rain was kind of interesting.
So, according to our fire leads, it was the largest permitted fire event in the city of Seattle ever. So we're breaking new ground here. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. And Marco, I kind of wanted to jump back a little bit here on this previous slide with some of these projects. What's really cool to note is that out of these projects that have kind of been grown out of here, a good number of these were actually at the larger burn too. So the big regional in Nevada had all of these maybe improved in different elements, and they were pretty awesome to see out there too.
That is true. The Simon Fire Edition was represented at the burn. The Pendulum of Meditation was part of a larger chapel structure. The little section of Inflection there was a small part of a much larger project at the burn, and some of the Web of Dreams was located on that Inflection project. And the Zooplankton was also on the playa there as well. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Skell.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool stuff to see. I will say that the Bridge of Doom was amazingly hard to walk on in its final state. No one died on it, which is surprising.
Yes.
But that's really cool. I was really excited to see how much art was out there in the rain. It was pretty cool to see.
Yes, thanks to everybody who showed up and brought their art to the event. You helped to make it a fabulous experience for everybody who attended. I got nothing but positive comments about what a great event this was, and who cares that it was raining? I'm having a wonderful time.
Awesome. I think next up here.
You can go to the next slide, which is the Pratt Scholarship update, which was awarded this year to Gabriel Kane. I believe this is our 6th or 7th Pratt Scholarship. Some past winners have been Ben Flaster, Syra Hobson, Deanna Studley, Ken Ropey. So we're very excited to see what Gabe is going to be doing at Pratt. So far, he's only taken some wood turning classes, and you can see some of the items that he's done in his wood turning class. He's a pretty talented guy, makes some interesting stuff, without any classes. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to do going forward. And we'll have an update for that at the Spring Town Hall. So the next Pratt Scholarship application period will open in the springtime and be announced around midsummer. So if that's something you're interested in, INW funds a member to attend classes at the Pratt Fine Arts Center to the tune of $1,500, and we've been doing this every year, and I've always enjoyed just seeing what people have developed out of that. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Awesome. I want to take a quick little breather here. I want to check in with our Facebook page thing that's going on. It looks like we have some questions and we have some comments about trying to get to the video. I want to make sure we give us a pause so we can see if we can get people to hop on real quick. So please bear with us here 1 second. It looks like we've got some people trying to connect, and they're having a little bit of trouble. Again, this is new technology. Well, not new technology, but new to us for running a conversation. So not all the bugs are worked out, but so far doing pretty good. Okay, I think we have some of them addressed here, and I'm going to pop on to the next slide about finances if we're ready to talk about that.
Oh yeah, sure. Hi everybody, this is Joel Sack. I'm the current treasurer of INW, hoping to not be that past the next election. So I also run for the board. And I'm the chair of the Finance Club, which is the finance basically committee. If you're not familiar, that's the group of people that gets together and talks about the inner workings of the business, the finance perspective, deeper business processes, stuff like that. So if that's exciting to you, email me at treasurer@ignitionnorthwest.org. I think I got the, yep, okay, got the address right. So the numbers that you see up there on the deck right now are for the 2 events. And their critical's pretty much closed. There's maybe 1 or 2 tiny little outstanding things, but we've paid the producer. We've gotten all of the wrap-up reports and everything that we need to square that off. I think Bert's going to address that a little bit in a later slide as well. But so the gross revenue, just to jump into the finances of that event, grossed $62,504. And the total expenses came out to $44,971. Seems significant, but it's what it costs to throw a fun event like that for a week. And our net income was actually the largest I think I've seen for critical. Usually I call it a loss typically, but it's $17,532. So that's pretty awesome. And then moving on to sea compression, which hopefully everybody got a chance to come out and see what we did for our new business model, which is not have this big, super party, which I know a lot of people have a lot of fun at. But as we get a little older, more of us have kids, and more friends want to come to the event. We decided to have an all-day event, make it a donation only, rather than doing bar sales. So you can see, if you're familiar with the sea compression model, that gross revenue is down quite a bit. our gross for that, because it's all donations, is $14,321, and our total expenses come out to $7,851. And so our net out of that event is $6,469, which you'll typically see somewhere between 20 and 30 come out of that event. It really does fund our whole year, but it's I don't need that, thank you though. But just below that, sorry, my twins are here with me. It's the beauty of having this type of meeting. We grossed most of that through, or all of that, I should say, through donations. And I did a basic breakdown. You can see the PayPal donations, which I will tell you is still open, always will be open. That's our new model, is we don't want to take all your money during the event. We want to take it from you all the time throughout the year, right? And so feel free to donate at that PayPal link anytime, because our expenses are have not decreased. We are still giving away every dollar that we said we're going to give away, but our income certainly has changed with the change in the model. So you can see for the event in particular, we took in $5,632 from PayPal. At the event, we had those really wonderful square reader devices that Divide put together, and we made about $900. I think we could have done even better on that. And I'll be honest with you, that's about $800 more than I thought we'd make off of the square readers. So that was a real big surprise. And then the really surprising number is the $7,799 that we made in cash, just cash. And that blew me away, because I thought we were going to do about $1,000 in cash donations, and everybody else would give money on PayPal or where they could, or we just didn't know, right? So that was kind of a wonderful surprise. It was made for kind of an uncomfortable 12 days while I had to dry a wad of cash out and flatten it and do all that before I could actually count it. But it was a massive success in terms of just taking the business model, breaking it up, and going to this, I think, sustainable donation model. It's going to be awesome, and I was really blown away at what I consider to be a very, very successful event. Having worked at, I think, every single one of them, except for one or two where I decided it wasn't fun anymore. But that withstanding, let's see. And then I have another note here. We have another donation source that you might have heard of at the very end. Jeremy Ball was able to secure an in-kind donation from, or a matching, donation from Pollination, which I don't believe we've seen yet, because we're still going through some contractual negotiations, which I think are finalized, and then we should see that money shortly. And I can't remember the exact amount. It's like $1,000 or $2,000. It's not chump change, but it's it's not huge. We really appreciate it. Everybody put in a lot of work here, and so your matching donations will bring that up. I just don't know the exact dollar amount yet. Now, keep in mind the books have not been closed on Sea Compression officially. I don't anticipate it's going to go up or down more than a couple $100. But yeah, so all in all, it was a very successful year from what I've seen from our general business and operations, meaning the entirety of the business. We're well on track to meet the goal of being a 501c nonprofit, where your goal is really to give away as much money as you bring in, minus your expenses for the business. So congratulations to everybody that participated in that, and everybody that came out to support the new business model. I'm really, really happy that we were able to finally turn that from what we consider to be a good idea into reality. So, and if you have any questions on any of this, if you'd like to get deeper into P&L and all that, I'm not very fond of going too deep. It's kind of boring for a lot of people, but I go very deep if you just privately message me and say you'd like to get together. And again, one last plug for the Finance Club. If you're really interested in this topic, email me at treasury@ignitionnorthwest.org, and I'll add you to that. And when we have meetings, you can come tell us all about how much you geek out on business. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you, Joel.
All right. Now we're on to one of those lovely topics that I'm going to talk about, and that is we're changing our website, or at least the kind of implementation of it. Everyone has had gripes about this for a very, very, very long time, and unfortunately, it's a really tricky problem to deal with. And a lot of it revolves around the fact of since we're a board of volunteers, we change out all the time, and some of us have skills of web design, and some of us know how to build this stuff, and some of us don't, and that changes over time. So how do you build a sustainable option that actually lasts a little bit longer? Divide and I had been working together on trying to create an optimum solution, and we decided to move ourselves over to a kind of pre-formatted, but a little bit more fun and customizable. So what we ended up doing was moving over to a hoster called Weebly that is kind of like Squarespace, very similar. What's really lovely about this is that it is not complicated to update. It pretty much writes itself, and so that way it's more accessible to more board members and the community really to create, update, add content. There's lots of new features there. I'm still updating it and still creating new content for it. And right now, we have it live on ignitionnorthwest.com. You'll notice that is not ignitionnorthwest.org. This is a slow process. I did not want to kill the site 100% until we were fully migrated over, because I wanted everyone to still have accessibility to the old links and to the old documents and programs. And so that stuff is going to live in perpetuity just for a little bit while we migrate everything over, and then eventually that old stuff will fall away. What's really nice about this is it ties in more with social media, so you don't have to exactly go to the website. One post there should post to our social media sites. We've got a lot more features. We're actually going to have a full-fledged forum in there. There's a community feed, which is something new that I want to experiment with, which is a feed that you as the community control. So if you have an art show, you have an event, you have a whatever, you can post it there and share it with everybody. It's kind of an interesting idea. We'll see how that works. Another fun thing is that you should actually be able to join now at the site and not kind of enter an email address at an empty place that doesn't have everything connected to it. But there'll be a lot more features with that. I encourage everyone to go to ignitionnorthwest.com, play with the new site, see what happens, register on there. We're going to have to do some changes and mess with stuff to see how we can make it better, but that's where we are right now. And I think that's it for my slide. Unless Divide, do you want to add anything fun, or Bert, or Joel, or anybody? Or
No, I know you and Divide have been working hard on this for months, trying to get things prepared in the background so that when we launch it, it could be as smooth as transition as possible. And with the elections coming up that Divide's going to talk about later, having this new website up is going to be important.
So I understand everyone's been, INW's been promising a new website for a long time, and turns out the problem has been actually very complicated and took a lot of gears turning to actually get to the place where we are now. So we are actually in a really good position, and moving forward in the next couple weeks, the new elections that I'll be talking about later are going to be actually handled with the membership site on the new INW site. So the surveys that will be sent out for voter links will actually be integrated with the site now.
it's awesome. And I'm really excited about it. I can't begin to tell you how much of a pleasure it is to not log into something that's WordPress. But that's my own personal opinions. I don't know if we want to hang out and talk about this one a little bit more, or if we want to move on to the next set of slides here.
Let's go ahead and talk about, let's go ahead and move to the next slide and talk about critical of this year for a second.
Yeah, in between, while you're moving to that, because I know it takes a second, I see somebody commenting, I think it was Bucky, and reminds us about Amazon Smile. It's not a significant amount of money, I'll be honest with you, but every dollar is a dollar, so might as well, use this part of Amazon. But if you go to smile.amazon.com and pick us as your preferred charitable organization, we'll get a cut of every time you spend money with Amazon.
Thank you, Bucky. Yeah, you look at that, Bucky. You even got an echo. Okay, we're gonna move on to the slide here.
All right, so let's talk about. Good job. Thank you, Joel, for bringing that up. I saw that, and thanks for jumping on it. So Critical this year at LARC, over 600 participants on site again this year, and that was actually a great number for the late start we got on it. And the producer, mostly, Liz, did a fantastic job this year for the tools she was giving with her limited knowledge about our event and the way we do things, and brought in some fresh.
Now, Bert, to be fair, mostly did entirely a good job.
Mostly did an entirely good job, and that's already going to get confusing. But yes, you're absolutely right. She did. She came in with a limited timeline, with limited knowledge about an event she had never really been to or heard of, but took what she knew and how she did it, and came together with our people and some of her own people and did a fantastic job. She came in under budget. Again, you talked about the numbers earlier, Joel. But a $17,000 plus profit on Critical, like you said, is something we've never really heard of before. It's always just made enough to keep the event in the black. You know, zero sum, give or take. It's always made a little money, but never to this extent where it's made more than Sea Compression in the same year. So definitely a job well done to you, Liz, and your entire production staff. Beep, beep, your technical director. There were some challenges along the way, like we talked about. One of those things were met and hopefully will be solved for the future was background information, some kind of manual on how to throw a critical. How do you take all these things, all this knowledge that we've put together over the years, and give it to someone and say, this is how you do what we do? They worked on that a little bit, and we're going to see something, when all is said and done, something physical that we'll be able to reference in the future. That way no one gets to walk into a situation completely blind again. Somebody else, what about Critical? I went to Critical twice this year. I was there for a couple of days, had a little mid-week visit off-site, and then came back for the weekend. It was nice. What happened Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday while I was away?
I sadly was at work for that part until about Friday.
Nothing happened. While you were gone, the entire thing shut down and everybody stared at each other.
Oh, that's good to hear. Oh, my ego feels better, I guess. No, it was fantastic. There were definitely some highlights out there. Boner battles were taken to a whole new level. I saw the electric fence that the Wizards put up for this year's Boner Battle Ring. That was exciting, and definitely.
I think what's cool too is in the picture here you see something the wizarding blah blah blah. That is a pinball machine that one of the Wizards built, which is amazing if you haven't had a chance to play it. It was also at Sea Compression.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of Sea Compression, let's talk about Sea Compression this year for a minute.
Yeah, hang on one second. I'm going to change you out to the slides, and we are now on Sea Compression.
That was a handy cue. Okay, so we tried something new like Joel was talking about. Year after year, we throw this late-night, adults-only, 21 and over party, and we all sit around and have a good time. But as Joel was saying, lives change and we grow and develop throughout our lives, and so we opened it up and we decided to open the gates a little earlier and make it a little freer for people to see, and not necessarily make it all about having to be 21 and plus to get through the gates. And then, oh yeah, by the way, we didn't charge any money to get in, so that's a whole other thing.
And what's really,
we were talking about, the business model has to change, and we change it. We did.
What's really cool to note about that being free is I believe we are the first region to do this for free. I don't know of any other ones. If there are any other regions, I would love to chat with them to talk about how their model worked and what they did and their thoughts around it. But as far as I am aware, we are the first ones to try this format out and see what happened with it. And so I think it's a really cool thing. I mean, it's a huge thank you to Mattress and the whole production team of Sea Compression. They did a fantastic job with the limited amount of time and resources and everything that was going on. So it's super fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. Threw together some real last minute things there and faced some unique challenges with an event that we hadn't put on in years past. We had been doing a completely different model on a single site, gated off, 100% closed off, ticketed event, and this was nothing like that. And the people reacted well, and like we said, even in the pouring rain, and I was there from the time the event began to the time it closed, and it was pouring rain for more than 75% of the event, and there were constantly a stream of people through the INW tent where Espresso Buzz's pictures were.
It was pretty awesome considering how cold and wet it was. It was pretty fantastic. So.
Absolutely.
You want to pop on to the next slide?
Yeah. What's next? That sounds, I think, elections.
Yeah, we've got elections. So Divide, you are up.
So, as was mentioned before, the board is a volunteer-run organization. All of us put in our blood, sweat, and tears to volunteer for the community because we believe in this community, and we believe that we can do it good and improve all of the art around us by giving out grants, helping facilitate education and grants. So we have 3 positions available coming up in February. So the application to self-nominate opens up in January 1st. January 22nd is the last day to register to vote. So the voter registration is not on Facebook. It's actually going to be on the INW site, and this will be on the new site. So everyone who is a member and has an email address registered with us will be receiving notification of this. On February 3rd, the application period closes for nominees. Then we have 2 weeks of voting open. After that, we'll be announcing the winners. Sometime in between the nomination closing, we'll actually have an INW meet and greet. Where we're going to meet in a public place and have some beers and get a chance to interact with potential candidates and the public to inspire you to join us on the board.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
For sure, and we talked about maybe having a couple of meet and greets so that way you come out, you talk to some people, and before the nominations close, you decide, I really want to do that. I want to be on the board. I want to get in there. So it gives you an opportunity to nominate yourself and get in before the deadline closes. So we're really going to try and focus that. A couple of different locations, maybe in back-to-back weeks. Try and move it around so we can get more people out to see what's going on.
Awesome. Let's see. Want to go ahead and move on to the next slide here. I'm getting some kind of conversation bit, so I'm going to answer some chat when we move on and talk about Critical 2016.
Okay, well, here we go. Critical 2016. We put out a questionnaire on Facebook and to some of the more populated email lists as to what was going on with Critical in the year coming up. This is going to tie into some questions that were asked earlier in different places and on the event, so I'm going to try and do this as we go, and I'm going to be backtracking and re-answering the same questions multiple times or referencing, so just bear with me. Since about, I'd say it's been a year now, Diem, who is right in the middle of a Burners Without Borders Seattle meeting right now, has been helping negotiate with Masonic Family Park on the behalf of Ignition Northwest to get us a more permanent home for our event. Back at the last town hall, we told you that negotiations were fruitful and they were moving forward, and they were, and continued to move forward in the months as they went along. Back in September, we as a board approved a contract for a 10-year right of refusal with the Masonic Family Park, and we're awaiting their board's final approval so that we could sit down and sign the contract together. Our lawyers had already been through it. It had been taken care of. We were ready, signed, sealed, and delivered to go. The Masonic Family Park came back, said they had some caveats to some things we had said and some concerns. We addressed their concerns as best we could. They said things were fine. They came back with a question about the date because they were getting outside pressure. We said, okay, we're flexible with the date. We're ready to sign. The day before we were going to sign, I spoke with the caretaker on the phone when we were informed that the park had decided not to allow us to utilize the space in 2016 because they had some pressure from other groups and things had come up from their membership that prevented it from happening. It's not an end to the negotiation or the relationship between us and Masonic Family Park. It's merely a setback for 2016 and where we want to go in the future. It's an amazing site. We still want to utilize this site, and we're working actively to try and get this site for our future use, to have critical there, excuse me, at length. Unfortunately, 2016 there is not going to be an option as Critical Northwest. So, what did we do? We asked you what you wanted to do as options. We have some things. We can go back to old sites. We can go and possibly talk to other regionals in the area that are having events at the same time. We're always trying to not step on one another's toes when it comes to regional events. Maybe now it is a time where we can come together and collaborate because of the situation we're now dealing with. It may create us an opportunity that we've never had before. If another region says, hey, we'd welcome your collaboration. As far as I know, one region has said no, they can't accept our kind of size as far as our population and things. That's fine. There are other regions it's still possible to talk with, other events. There's also the discussion of possibly taking the year off and not holding the event. Of all of the options, this was the least popular, as voiced by the community, which over 250 people actively spoke to us as far as their opinion in which way we should go with LARC and Critical and what we should do for next year. So things what we have to worry about. We need a producer for an event. That needs to happen and will happen by the end of the year. Whether or not we decide on a site, we still have to see. There are still challenges with using old sites. Things have to be addressed, and there are other things that have to go on. But again, there are lots of things going on.
I think what's really important to note is that we were kind of surprised by this, what happened. It took us off guard, and we let you all know as soon as we could figure out what was up. And so we're definitely going to try and find the best option possible, and try and support the best option possible. It's not entirely up to us to say yay or nay. If the community wants to have an event, it's not our responsibility to say no. We're going to do the best we can to support everyone and try and make sure everyone gets what they want. And that's really the tricky part. But I think what's really important to share is that we were really taken off guard by this, and I think we're the most disappointed because of all the efforts that we put into to get things going. Bert, did you want to throw in anything, or anybody else want to?
Things that are going on, trying to get everything caught up with everybody and stay as much live time as we can. So as far as Critical in 2016 goes, that's the situation as far as our site. As of right now, we don't have a site. We're looking to negotiate with people we've worked with in the past. We're also looking for new possibilities, or we're looking for new suggestions too. Maybe people want to hold 3 different smaller events this year, and instead of going to half a Critical or a third of a Critical because of the way their time works out, they can go to one of the smaller events. I think it's a great idea to merge with another region if that's acceptable and it can be worked out. You have lots of participants from our event at Critical that go to Bird in the Forest and some of the other regional events and soak in that thing, and they go back-to-back weekends. Some people spend an entire month. Most of July is spent on the road going from regional to regional. We can put ours lumped in with someone this year that will be willing to accept us, and we can put our resources behind that. I don't see any reason why not. It's not about pride in this case. I think now we're at the point where people want to have Critical. They've made that absolutely clear. Where we have it is yet to be determined. I think we should move forward and find a producer and go from that angle. We've talked about that too, how we've done things in the past about finding producers and what kind of standards we've held them to. We're discussing a new model as far as being able to select a producer and write them a grant and create an LLC for the Critical event, and when the event's over, the company dissolves, and give the producer the autonomy they need so that they can't get nitpicked and worried by individual things that the board should or shouldn't be worried about, and that we can worry about things we need to and let the producer produce the event, because that's what they're there to do. Any proceeds after the event is over can come back to us, and we can work that through contract and negotiation. We're going to be moving forward. We're going to have an event. How we have it is yet to be seen.
Yeah, I think it's been a tough one to talk about and a tough one to work through. I just want to express my extreme appreciation for everyone's patience and willingness to kind of participate and be a part of the conversation. I think it's been really fantastic. I do, since we're kind of at the end of our pre-prepared slides, I really want to kind of start tackling some of the questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through some of the question lists that I have here and try and see if we can't answer those. Feel free, anyone, to chime in, unless there's anything else you want to touch on any of the slide decks before I move into that.
No, go for it.
Okay, so it looks like we've got someone commenting here. So they like the new site. They're very happy about that. We've got another question here about, I think we should reserve Lark. And, you know, they're just kind of commenting on that. And I think we've kind of addressed that one a little bit. I don't know, Bert, you want to add anything about Lark in particular?
As far as the challenges of Lark?
Yeah.
Read the question again. I was reading another question. I apologize.
It looks like it rolled off. Looks like it rolled off the screen here. This new question thing is pretty interesting.
Love it.
Yeah, the question was around just, is Lark something that we really want to approach again, even though we've had so many problems in the past, and would we be willing to approach it? And I think the answer is ultimately yes, we're willing to approach anything because we want to do the right thing for what we all want to do, which is get together.
Right, it is. And you know, people have said they want the event. Of all of the comments that were put in and all of the emails we received, less than 10, less than 5 said, yeah, just take the year off. Everybody wants to have the event, no matter where we have it. And no, Lark may not be the most ideal, but if it comes down to we can hold it at Lark, or we don't have a place to hold it and we don't have the event, we're going to get people that come to the event and go to it at Lark, and we're going to get people that come to the event and don't. And then we're going to get people that won't come to the event. So, again, we'll never be able to please everyone. We try and do the best we can for the greatest majority of our community at the time. Everybody drink.
Okay, drink. Good stuff. All right, so it looks like there were also some comments about the website URL. It is ignitionnw.com or .org or whatever, not ignition, Northwest spelled out. If there was a typo anywhere, my severe apologies. Sometimes writing slide decks is fun, and everyone gets stressed out. Looking down here, Carrie.
I want to do something real quick, Scotland. Allie,
yeah, go for it.
Allie Christofferson put in a list of questions, I believe yesterday or the day before, and I wanted to address hers before we go anywhere else. because a lot of them pertain. Some of the things we've already talked about, but I'll cover them again. But before we go anywhere else, I really wanted to give her questions the credence that they deserved.
Totally agree.
So let's just roll right from the top. Number one, any reason why there was such short notice on the town hall date, time, and location? Did this contribute to an online meeting being the default due to a lack of venue? She put, note, I understand the town hall can be tricky with weather and attendance. It seems we could have had a physical and an online presence. So yes, partially yes, it is correct, and yes, it did have something to do with it. We were going back to Mount Baker like we had before. We had some success with the potluck at Mount Baker in the spring. The people that came seemed to like it. Unfortunately, like most of our other town halls, there were very few people in attendance, and with it starting at that time, it's real tough. And then add the weather on top of it. So yes, it did have a lot to do with the fact that we wanted to get as many people in as possible, so we said that online was the way to go, and we were going to make that call and go from there. We made that call a little later than we wanted to, and as soon as we made the decision, we went into work trying to spread the word and get it out to as many people as possible. Even though we didn't even have the connecting information out to today, I still tried to get it out the moment we knew we were doing it. But when it was a concept, we were already telling people about it before we even had a plan. So yeah, we're working. This is a fluid thing, and it's going to have some bumps. But we're trying new things, and we're not afraid to fall down because we're going to get back up and keep going.
Bert,
yes, ma'am. Leanne.
I'm going to chime in as well.
Yes, please.
To also address part of Allie's question. She asked if it was due to a lack of venue, and it actually wasn't. Mount Baker Community Center was more than willing and welcome to have us back. We just thought that really it was time to go live with this. I know personally I'm up here in Lake Stevens right now participating. I'm seeing people from all over our region participating that normally would not be able to simply due to the distance to travel into Seattle. Not even including the horrific weather and accidents that are happening tonight on our interstates. So I definitely agree with some people. There's been a lot of commentary about, hey, maybe we can do a combination of live as well as these more like online style. And I think as the board, we've been talking about this, that we're definitely looking at that as an option. But in particular for this one, we wanted to go live and make it more available for those who can't drive into the city.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think that was super well said too, Leanne, because doing the live one too, I'm going to apologize and own up to any of the links being strange. I've done the best I can to kind of sort a lot of that out. I wanted to go with a Google Hangout type of thing, but what's unfortunate about Google Hangouts is it creates multitudes of links to connect to all of this. So apologies for the confusion. But the good note there is that the whole talk is recorded. When you join not necessarily 100% live. You can make yourself live, but that way you don't miss any of it. It's a good thing. Again, taking the situation where we didn't have enough time and tried to spin it into something good and new, and that was definitely our effort. Bert, back to you.
Okay. So I think that's, as far as the town hall goes, yes, we like this because it opens us up to be able to see, or excuse me, to have more people see us because they don't have to physically be there. In the future, can we find a way to make some kind of hybrid? I don't see why not. If there was talk about people wanting to gather together to watch it together, so that would be a good idea too. Maybe we can put that together and have a place to sit and enjoy and relax while the rest of us sit around and do things at our computer. Next on Allie's list was number 2 here. Have we wrapped up Critical 2015? I think we have. Joel, as he said earlier, there are a couple, maybe 1 or 2 little checks outstanding, not too much as far as the financials go. As far as the actual wrap-up report and what we've learned and mitigating some challenges and dealing with successes and failures, that's a work in progress. There were a number of things brought up, including the the wealth of information that we've gathered as a community and as a group to put on these events. I only say that because I'm pretty sure that was your responsibility, Allie, and your whole thing was that you wanted to do that. So I look forward to seeing what you've put together so that we can have other producers take that and move forward with it. But yes, we're dealing with those challenges. I've seen some groups form over some other things that have happened, and Critical has been the thing that's on everyone's lips. But yeah, Critical 2015 is done, and now we're moving on. Next is C compression. Your question was, are we moving forward with the structure we've established this year? From everything we've heard, I've heard almost no, wow, that was horrible. Every C compression before that was better. It wasn't like that. Even through the rain, the people that went enjoyed themselves. Is this a model we want to move forward with? Absolutely. We can provide this kind of amazing night or day and night for everyone and try and provide it free of cost in the sense of ticketing. Then, you know, if you've given earlier in the year, since we have the PayPal button running constantly now as our new model, then you don't have to worry about buying a ticket for C compression. Yeah, we like this model a lot. How can we manage a production team to line them up with more than 6 weeks of time we had this year? Well, in that, as in years past, it's been said that the producer for C compression needs to be chosen around the April timeframe. This year, like other years, we're going to work feverishly to ensure that the person chosen to produce this event in this new model is given an ample amount of time to do it so that they can face any challenges and not have to do it with their hair on fire, the way things are currently running. Okay, so my statisticians are telling me that we're getting some good numbers of people watching versus how we've had in the past when we've had people physically out of sight. So hurry up and log in if you're not logged in already.
But don't worry, you're still going to be able to watch it all.
That's right. If you're watching this and it's not live, hurry up and get to the live part. Next, number 4. And seriously, this is about Critical 2016. Yes, it was about the same message at last town hall that we were working on it and that we were negotiating. But as I said earlier, there were some challenges that came up on us that were out of our control, and they happened at the last minute. They happened when we went to sign. There's nothing we could do about it. It was completely out of our hands. We're working now to face this challenge and do whatever we can to put Critical on in whatever way we can so that the community has their event. That's all there is to it. That's what we're focusing on. That the details were being worked out. It wasn't about a lack of messaging either, because in every board meeting, in the minutes, it was brought up where that contract negotiation was from the time the board voted on it to the updates of where it was going and when we were waiting to hear from Masonic Family Park. I have a string of unanswered emails. There was a lot going on, and the Masonic board meets, I believe, once or twice a year and not once a month like the INW board does. So it's not as simple as just wait until next month. So we're dealing with that challenge again. There's still a relationship there. We're working forward, and we're going to move on that. Have we considered working with the BIDF crew? Again, we were any regional and any regional outside of INW that is within the sound of my voice that wants to help us orphaned non-event space holding region with a place to go for a wonderful event. We're all ears. No, we're not against that at all. And Allie notes that she hasn't proposed this to anyone at BIDF, and I know Squishell had commented that they were hoping to be in tonight, so hopefully you're watching right now. And yes, if it's something you guys are interested in, we would love to hear from you and see how we can use our resources and leverage them in a way that benefits all of our communities together.
Also,
yes, go ahead.
I want to chime in and add to what Bert's saying. This is Leanne again. We've been in contact with the producers of BIDF about what's going on. They contacted us, as Squish mentioned, that they're looking at dates similar to the ones that we traditionally have held Critical. They know what's going on to a degree as much as we know what's going on. So As the board has mentioned multiple times, we're not opposed to working with other regionals. We'd really like to see a successful event, as well as I'm watching a lot of the comments, and it seems super popular to get some sort of Cascadia burn going, incorporating BIDIF, Critical, Otherworld, Soak. Spokane is also now having a regional burn. Wouldn't it be fun to do some big, massive thing? And I totally agree with that. So know that we are in contact with other boards, starting these conversations. But I know we've got some Vancouver people on the line, and I'm pretty sure Victoria's on the line too. We'd love to chat.
Yeah, like I said, Squish had commented on Allie's post, but I've had phone conversations with Benson on the production team up there, and we're definitely talking to people. So now, even more than ever, the communication lines are open. Help us, help you, help us. Whatever we can do, let's make it happen. Because more and more, whatever it takes, let's put on some kind of event. Almost done with Allie's list here. Number 6 of 7. Will you be recording the online meeting and Q&A? And yes, we are. And you can watch it as many times as you like. And every time my lovely face pops up, you can throw things at your computer screen.
One thing to note about the recording is it's going to take a little bit to process, so it's not going to be instantaneous. It's YouTube, and it's YouTube live streaming, so it will take a moment for it to all record and then get down and get processed. And you should be able to find that and subscribe to the INW YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scotland. Yes, and again, this is technology we're working with, and we're going to try and edit it as little as possible. I believe I'm still under my allotted profanity mark for the night, so we're doing okay. One more question from Allie before we can move on to someone else. Is there an agenda for this meeting? Hey, it's a little late now, but yeah, there was. And in the future, we will have things set up a little bit better now that we have a format for this that we'll be tweaking along the way. Did we invite anyone outside of Facebook? Yes, I know for a fact. The BCWA Yahoo group got messages sent out. I know Rat City and a couple other lists got messages sent out. So there were email lists used. There was Facebook. There was some other word of mouth and other social media used. Soon as this transition from the old site to the new comes with our member list, we will have a more usable members email list to be able to generate content and information pass through like that, as well as the email and the website itself, where it will have information in a timely manner where you'll be able to get on and find out all things INW.
Hey, Bert.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think one other interesting thing to note, too, is that once this records, we'll be able to share it out, and you will be able to share it out with everybody that you want to. If there's a significant amount of questions or whatnot, we can always put together another quick conversation for everybody now that we've kind of got the nuts and bolts on this all figured out and dialed in for us, so we can go ahead and do this perhaps more on a regular basis if be possible.
Outstanding. Thank you so very much. That is the end of Allie's list of questions. I want to thank you, Allie, for your dedication to this community, and you're always being at the front of the line to find out what's going on and get that information out to everyone. I mean it. You are always the tip of the spear when it comes to that. So hopefully I addressed everything you asked. If I missed something or seemed to dodge or obfuscate it, please let me know, and I will get that posted in a place for everyone to see and get it corrected.
Awesome.
Scotland, what else do we got for questions? Let somebody else talk so they can stop listening to my voice for a minute.
I have another really important question here from Dave Lerner about what is the airspeed of a laden swallow. I can answer that one real quick. The average airspeed of an unladen swallow is 10 meters per second with an average wingspan of 28 to 30 centimeters. Laden, depending on the gram weightage of the coconut itself, will decrease to 2 to 4 meters per second. That's from the quick math I did. But that's that question right there. It was super important. I'm glad we were able to answer that. Carrie Burns also wanted to mention that Monterey Bay also has a free event on the beach. So that's pretty cool. So if you know anyone in Carrie, if you know anybody that's in that group, or if anyone does, I'd love to talk to them and kind of understand some more stuff with how they do that. Looking through the questions here, some are answered, some are not. Feel free, if any of you guys have a question that you see that's unanswered and you want to answer, just jump right in, go for it.
Sure, and if I didn't say this before, Squishell, please contact me directly, you or Benson, whoever, or anyone here on the board. You can send the email directly to board@ignitionnorthwest.org, and we can talk about the BITF part of critical if we need to.
Yeah, I noticed that was a question Christina also had here too about BITF being, passport required, and that's not an easy thing for everybody to accomplish. And so I think that's worth mentioning that it's a little trickier to kind of incorporate to a burn that's not in the U.S.
Yeah, that's a non-starter for if we wanted to do a combined thing. As everybody's thinking about this, it's a non-starter to have a joined regional in Canada. It's just such a high barrier to entry to so many U.S. people. We just suck that bad.
Yep. So another point here that Leanne answered, thank you Leanne, about what are grants used for and whether they can be used for things other than Burning Man. And I'd like to reiterate that Burning Man is a thing that happens once a year. Arts in the Pacific Northwest is something that happens all the time. And so these grants, as well as the educational grants, are year-round, and they're for projects up here. It's not just for one particular event. Sometimes it benefits people who are taking their art to Burning Man, but it's really meant to service our community up here in the Pacific Northwest. All right, more of the site. People are happy to see it change. Looks like people are talking about the regional, and it looks like that's all I have on my list immediately. A lot of comments, but that's about it. Bert, if you're talking, you are muted.
You know, I'm going to learn this technology thing one day.
You will get it. We're in conversation.
Unless someone sends me a text message or a Facebook message in the next, I don't know, 30 seconds with another question. I think we're pretty close to wrapping it up here.
I think so too. I don't know if anyone else has any questions or thoughts or anything that they want to talk about. I'll certainly kind of leave it open unless anyone has any burning questions that we have not answered. I want to make sure that we're getting that all taken care of. And I'm not seeing anything. So, Bert, you want to close it on down, and then I will go ahead and play us some lovely closeout music, and we can go about closing everything up.
For sure. I'd like to thank everyone that came in and attended this live. I'd like to thank everybody on the board for showing up to come and show your lovely pictures and face and stop me from giving a monologue for the entire evening. So without further ado, continue on with your evenings. Thanks for tuning in here to the INW Fall Town Hall. And if you have any questions about anything we talked about tonight, feel free to check out our new website there at ignitionnw.com. And send us an email at board@ignitionnw.org, and we'll get back to you real soon. Thank you so very much. Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody, and enjoy some music.